Hey guys, it's Dark Siege. I want to do a video, hopefully really quick, and I've been thinking about this video for a couple months now. And in my last KVK, I was talking to somebody from the opposition, and they ran into a lot of difficulties with their siege march. They kind of were under the impression, and I think as a siege content creator and other content creators that do siege, we give the impression that siege is just like a no fail, always gonna win situation. And that is not the case. I think with this commander swap going on, many people maybe are considering siege. I know I've contacted a lot of people who have in my kingdom, or they've contacted me. And I feel that I want to put out this video to everybody else to say that siege is not always sunshine and rainbows. So I wanted to go over a couple issues with siege so you know what you're getting yourself into. And before I start, please give me a thumbs up, like, maybe subscribe. It really helps out as a new content creator. I really would appreciate it. So let me go into the issues that I have played and seen, while doing Siege. And here they are. Okay, the setup and breakdown time of Siege is atrocious. It's 7 seconds to set up and 8 seconds to set down. And it really runs into a lot of problems when the ball is moving quickly. When everything is static, everybody's standing still. One is just more powerful than the other, or they're both equally power. Man, Siege can just rack up nonstop, kill points when you don't have to move. But when there's movement and it's quick, it can catch you, and you can get zeroed pretty quickly out there as far as your march is sad facing. So that's one thing, right? When one is stronger than the other. The murder ball movement, you got to think about it. For those that aren't siege, you're committing to about 10 seconds to one position. And when you've never played siege and you fight, you go in, you go out like a wave, right? And that movement, at any time you can run away. Imagine if you just had to stay there for 10 seconds. Like, you'd get your ass whooped, right? And so that's some of the consideration Siege has to do. And I don't mind if, and I do it often where I play the front of the line, right? Everything's moving back. I'm okay with that. Everybody's pretty strong and we're fighting each other. And if I get taken down, cool. What I try to avoid is when they're bum rushing us and everybody splits and turns tail, and then I get caught as the only one that gets sad faced, right? It happens a couple times and it starts adding up pretty quick. And if you have 2 full marches, 3 full marches, at 300 to 400 apiece, it's pretty costly. So you tend to see some of the siege march like bounce earlier than later sometimes. And for me, I could tell you, it depends who I'm playing with. If I know it's people from my kingdom are strong fighters, I'll stay there a lot longer than I would if, we're in a KVK and it's another kingdom and I see them split kind of early. I'm really reluctant to place down and stand my ground, if you will. So that's another one. And another point is you're not a standalone unit. If you play events, right, like Sorority Crisis, Protect the Supplies, as a siege player, because there's so much movement with tactics in these events, it's really hard to play as a siege player in those events. So I guess I'm also telling you that if you're siege and siege only, make sure you have another march. You need to have another march that is strong. At the very least, you have one strong march that you can run around and help your kingdom. If you're siege and siege only, man, it's kind of tough. I think let me just get this other thing. Kill points. When you're in a KVK where it's lopsided, one side or the other, you really have to grind to get KP. It's not easy. I'll give you, in one of my KVKs before I came over to this kingdom, we were lower seed, And when you have your fort up for your kingdom, it's a little bigger area, and that's all you have, and everybody keeps charging it from the other side. You can't cheeseburger like everybody else. If you've watched really any KVK where it's lopsided, cheeseburgering is like 80%. And as a siege player, you really don't have that opportunity. So you end up trying to hide behind a city so you blend in and hope they don't identify you. Because if they're in your range, they can get to you before you break down. And oftentimes you get overlooked because they're so focused on the fight in front of them, they're really not paying attention to the siege guy just plucking you from the side. And especially early on, people weren't used to it. And I think now that it's becoming more normal, fighters are getting used to it. So they seek out siege towers and take them down, right? The other thing that you have to be aware of is the increase in power. Your academy, you have to do a ton more training. T4 will only get you so far. T5 helps you put up more numbers, but T4 would probably work just fine if you have other marches out there and you're just throwing a siege behind you as you're doing the front work. I think T4 would be totally fine. You have to, if you're, like for me, I'm a siege main. And so I have to carry enough of infantry, cav, and archers to die off to justify my power, right? So it becomes very cumbersome. Right now, I'm going to have 3 siege marches. So I'm going to have a lot of troops for power. Then I need to carry a lot more of the other 3 to kill off to justify my power, right? I said it twice, but it's a big point that if there's a fourth march that comes out, and I'm not talking about the epic, but if there's a 4th true march that comes out with legendary, it's going to be a bitch. And I don't know how effective power-wise one could be. I'm sure you could do it, but there's just a lot more stress. I'll put it that way. There's a lot more stress to get your kill points and your deaths, the more power you have, when at least half, if not more, 60% is all siege. Just something to think about. I mentioned kill points. It takes forever. I mean, it takes forever sometimes. Another thing to think about if you're coming into the siege world and it's your only march, there's no rally, there's no garrison, there's no city protection you can have, right? The last point I'm going to bring up is the haters. I can't tell you how many people type to me that are just angry that I'm siege. There's quite a few. It's kind of interesting. But I will say on the flip side, I've met a lot of other siege players on the enemy side or even from the other camps who I've talked to, and it's been quite pleasant to have conversations about siege and their kingdom, how it's viewed, right? I've met some really cool people doing that. So if I happen to be in a KVK, either against you or you're one of my allied camps, I'm happy to talk to you, help you out. If you have any questions, feel free. The last thing I'm going to end on, since this is the time of the commander swap, is I see a lot of people ask the questions in our chat, hey, who's the best pair? And the automatic answer is Gajamata and Gonzo. And I will say Gonzo is a definite must. Who to pair with? I think there's an argument for Margaret. Let's put it like this. When I'm at an altar fight and I need to get around quicker, I go Margaret and Gonzo because it's so much quicker. I can put into the nodes and dance around. I haven't played yet with the new guys, Steven and John. I'm waiting until my next KVK before I'm going to do one of them with the commander swap. And the other ones I'm going to do with gold heads because I'm trying to get out of the MGE as many heads as I can because it's expensive to start doing siege. I guess that's another thing I'm going to tell you. It's expensive to get into siege, man. There's a lot of gold heads, then the gear, then the armaments, right? Like all that stuff that comes with it. One thing you can do, and I made a video on it, is you can go Gonzo as your secondary and then do Catherine as your primary. And I was getting the ratio of about 400. That's with really good gear. And I'll show you here. Right, that's the gear that I had. And then the armaments. Right, that's where I was at. That's pretty good stuff, right? I'm not saying it's the best in the world, but it's nothing to like laugh at, right? Like it'll do some damage. And with that good of stuff, I was getting in the 400s. So I would say, 2, 3, 400s, right? Like that's what I would expect you to go and do. If you're playing a C or D kingdom, you'll get a little higher numbers when you start plucking up people that don't have as good as gear and their commanders are on the weaker side. And that may change a little bit with commander swap. I made a whole video about it. You can check it out. I'm probably going to make a video about commander swaps and just kind of give my 2 cents like everybody else who's made YouTube videos. Okay, with that, if you made it this far, hey, thanks for watching. I wish you luck with Siege. Feel free to reach out to me if you have any questions. I think I've answered most of them here, but with my other videos, right, check those out. But again, I'm in 2914, and I'm Dark Siege. You can type to me, and I'll hit you back. Good luck in the game, and range rocks. See you guys.